Hello everyone, are you ready for another adventure? It's me, Wokey, and I'm back with another not fake Grand Order video. I'm back with another I got off of work, I'm tired, and I just want to play a game video. With the Making of Karateka, which is an interesting thing. It's by, I believe it's Digital Foundry. It is the people making the MK remake, and their main thing of doing it, I'm going to assume most people, if you ended up watching this video, don't know what that is. But basically, they kind of make documentary games, is the best way of saying it. Is like half documentary and also a look back at a lot of the games. And here's one for Karateka, which is an old fighting game of sorts. I've always been interested in it, so I'm just going to kind of see it. And yeah, that's going to be today's video. I want to play a game for a little bit. So how did a teenager with an Apple II design one of the most influential games of all time? Explore the making of Jordan Mechner's Karateka below, or view the game's menu with tab. Death Bounce. At first, Jordan Mechner wanted to create an arcade-style shooter. The lesson he learned from his rejection would inspire the creation of Karateka. So, yeah, see, you can see here, it takes you back into the time. In dreams of stardom, teenage programming prodigy Jordan Mechner didn't want to wait around to get into the video game industry, not when he had an Apple II and a dream of striking it rich. He just needed a killer idea. Introduction, playing the movies. I can play a video here. Playing the movie, so go ahead and tell me.
So, this is a media mate, and it contains a bunch of 5 and a
This is also
discs.
before my time
There's
as well.
a lot of classics there in here, including Wolfenstein and Beyond Castle Wolfenstein, which inspired us later.
I was trying to see show captions. There we go. That makes it easier for me to talk over it. There we go.
And just behind that is the game, Karateka.
Karateka.
Love it. It's so good.
I remember seeing Karateka and
that's another fun thing about this game is that everyone
but I think
pronounces
I saved up
it differently.
Some money, I eventually went back and got it. I was sold on the box artwork alone. Kind of told a story. I remember the illustration was really well done.
This does look pretty sick.
And
most
again,
of the games back then were just like
of
looking at
what
cool
that game was. And,
pictures and then just imagining it with 8-bits.
When I first loaded it up,
because you'll see the game eventually, it does not look like that.
Something down the lines of Karate Champ or similar head-to-head beat-em-ups. Instead, what I got was a cinematic experience. That's what blew my mind, right? The fact that it started with, a text crawl, right out of which, to my mind, that was out of Star Wars.
Big back in the day.
That cinematic experience is the thing that was just amazing, right? It was the most movie-like experience I'd ever had in a video game at that point.
This is what would really eventually cause God of War.
You're
about this, there's no God of War.
Hero in a movie. That's fantastic.
And this is what Karateka looks like.
All the other things that feel like bleeps and bloops, and this is like, movie making. It was amazing.
Yeah, I was just very impressed by the fluidity of the animation. And the kicks look great. The punches look great.
Does look
They
pretty
were
good
always
for
capped
back
off
then.
with a little bit of a sound, a little kia. Yeah, the fluidity of the motion, I think, really set the stage for the rest of what I had consumed about that game.
The animation was cool, and that was very innovative, obviously, at the time. The process, and the beginning of animation getting better and better, right? And more cinematic.
Oh, she's down. That princess is down.
Taking cues from the movie industry. But I think the story, I think the storytelling was probably one of the first. I can't think of another game.
This actually does have a really cool element to it.
The characters were not little sets of pixels. They, in fact, were fully formed individuals. They had personalities, they had strengths and weaknesses. You've got to remember the level of graphics that people were doing at that time, and they were on the sophisticated side for that time.
Karateka was historically a very significant game, and it saw the future before anybody else did. Part of it was because it understood the language of cinema, that visuals mattered, that full motion mattered, that human beings and characters and characterization, and storytelling and music mattered in a way that we take for granted now when we see games that are at least as complex as films.
A common knock against a lot of game developers today.
Okay, go on.
Is that they want to be movie makers.
That's true.
But
Sony games.
Gosh, you could almost look at Karateka as sort of the original apple from the tree of knowledge. There, it was really in a lot of ways the first game that put together fluidity of motion, cinematic shots, story arc, twists, filmic language.
Oh, that fucking bird that I hate.
Pointed the way towards a marriage of film, movie style storytelling and gameplay.
So yeah, they didn't explain it there, but basically you have 3 protagonists in the game, and the first protagonist is the one you obviously want to get the princess with, but if you die, he leaves the story, and then someone else climbs the mountain to Karateka to take up to the princess until eventually I think you have 3 lives, and the big fat guy is the final one you can get in there, and he can save the princess, and your ending is better depending on if you were able to win. Obviously, if you wanted to get the true ending, the best ending, you'd have to get there with the guy at the beginning, but as it moved on, you had other stuff. But so yeah, Jordan Mechner, born in 1964, Jordan Mechner quickly developed a love of cartooning and vision of career in comics, then all changed when he discovered computers. By 13, he was already contributing math-heavy articles about the Apple IIs to Creative Computing magazine with the titles like In Search of Pi and The Pascal's Triangle, What Is It All About? This is him back in the day. Right? The Apple II. Part of the first wave of home computers sold in 1977, the Apple II's color graphics and ease of made use of an early favorite and the first device that introduced computers into the homes of millions of Americans. This quickly created a mass market for video game software, open to any Apple II owner skilled enough to create something. This is way before my time, and obviously because I was not born in 1977. I don't think anyone in my immediate family got a computer until almost the 2000s, by the time that it was really a huge take it for granted. Like, look at this thing. This thing is barely the size of my brother's laptop if you look at it now, with the way it looks like right here. Like, it's so crazy small, and the screen is the only thing that's big, and even then, that screen is still smaller than his. Jordan with 2 family friends circa 1979 sitting at the Apple II. That year, when he was 14, Jordan sold his first game to a publisher. The company Softpad paid him $25 for his game called Maze, intended to put on a collection of Apple II games and cassette tape. It does not seem that Maze was ever released. There he is, having fun. Apple and asteroids. More than anything, 14-year-old Jordan Mechner wanted an Apple II. He saved up money and made caricatures at local fairs to buy one. Once he had his own computer, he immediately started creating games, including a version of a popular arcade game that was almost published. Alright, let's hear about it.
You actually got started when you kept going to the local arcade.
Francis Mechner.
And you kept borrowing quarters to put in the arcade machine to do, what was it? Not Star Wars.
Space Invaders?
No.
Asteroids?
Asteroids. Yeah.
Asteroids was
completely addicted to asteroids. Every day you couldn't wait to go to the arcade.
I still played arcades growing up. The Asteroids was still pretty popular when I was a kid in arcades.
That was 1980, so by then I was already in high school. It's pretty embarrassing if I was borrowing quarters from you.
From everybody. But I gave you the quarters, and then you decided you had.
There was always that famous story in was it Asteroids? I think was what caused the yen coin shortage in Japan. I think it was either Asteroids or Donkey Kong. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But you did it because you wanted to use the money to buy an Apple computer.
The way I remember it, I was 12, 13 years old. I was doing
caricatures. You did that at 12, 13? That's crazy.
Cookie magazine, my Mad magazine parody. And really, I wanted to do comics and animated films, but this was before.
Bro was doing this at like 13? That's crazy.
So I think if the Apple II had.
I was trying to draw a Karibo at this age.
Just kept on making comics.
Okay,
and failing.
I remember that you went to those street fairs, to those town fairs, to earn money to buy yourself an Apple computer.
Look how small that fucking thing is.
And I didn't know what the money was going to be for, but it was...
That keyboard is barely 1/4 of the size of my keyboard now.
Trying to save up the I think $900.
$900 back then? $1,200? No fucking way.
So to translate that into today's money,
brother,
multiply maybe by 6. It's real money.
I know it was all the money I had.
Yeah.
And then
Jesus fucking Christ.
Then you borrowed from Emily.
Yep.
That's over $6,000 for that computer.
So then you started programming games. So the first one was Asteroids.
Asteroids was actually, I mean, it took a couple of years to get to that point because my first games were in BASIC. You know, there was a game called Breakout on the Apple II.
Oh, Breakout's great.
You have a kind of a paddle. It's very simple. It's a ball bouncing and you try to knock out the blocks.
Yep. You can find that game in just about anything nowadays.
Programs written in BASIC and try to deconstruct how they've been done.
Mm-hmm.
And IBM had the Thomas J. Watson Research Center Explorers program. Once a week, my friend Adrian would drive me after high school to IBM, and they would let us kids come in and use the computers after hours. So that's where I first started learning how to program BASIC and APL.
I see.
And then with the Apple, it had BASIC, but it also had machine language, which was more of a mystery. It took longer to learn that.
Yeah. I remember that you did program Asteroids. You worked on that quite a while. And
yeah,
so
look at this. Look at this. It's beautiful.
Of Asteroids that
I did a stream on Final Fantasy VII a bit ago, and someone said, are you old? And I'm like, no, I just really like old stuff. I think it's fascinating. I think it looks great.
And it was the first money that I'd earned.
You damn old kids. One day you'll get my age, and you'll understand to learn and appreciate the beauty of previous art forms.
Money from the royalty, but then they got sued and they had to stop the whole thing because it was too good a replica of Asteroids.
Yeah, that's right. That's almost exactly how it happened. The best-selling Apple game at that time was Space Invaders, and they sold, I don't know how many, but I figured out that if I could do that for Asteroids, that would be my ticket.
Yeah, and you were right. I mean, if they hadn't gotten sued, you would have.
If that did a year earlier, Right, that was just about the time that Atari kind of figured out what was going on, and they sent threatening letters to all of the game publishers saying you can't publish copies of our games.
Yeah, back then, if you could just figure out how to make someone's game, you just did it again and sold that. What's to stop you, right? Imagine trying to do that shit today where you're just like, hey, I just figured out how to make Mario, and now I'm gonna go in there and start selling Mario on Nintendo. Since there were a few official Apple II versions of the popular arcade game clones, like the ones Jordan created, became quite lucrative. Hayden Software published the popular chess game of Sargon, gave 16-year-old Jordan a $750 advance and a 15% royalty of his Asteroids. His father, Francis, had to co-sign the contract at 15, and that's the publishing agreement. And authors Jordan Mechner. Yep, not lying. I can go down here. The design documents. Various design documents for Asteroids illustrate how Jordan plotted the game's pixel art on the graph paper before transferring the designs to the Apple II. Yeah, that's great. See, because you have to do it in graph paper and then just kind of go in through this that way. Nice smiley face. Little Pac-Man, bit of little Android things. 02, game over. That's the countdown screen, obviously. Man. Letter from Hayden Software, December 1980. Letter from Hayden Software, Steven Dush to Jordan, dated December 30 of 1980. Where Dosh details changes that the publisher would like Jordan to make to the game while expressing hopes that it will be the best Asteroids-based game on the market for the Apple and bringing substantial royalties for Jordan. So, let me see, where is the... Jordan Mechner, 85 Heights, Crossroads, Chapik, New York. Dear Jordan, thank you for your excellence in Asteroid games. The program is indeed an example of superior programming. There's only 2 changes to the program, which prevents us from enclosing the advance check immediately. We discussed these changes on the telephone yesterday, but let me briefly go over them again. Since there are already several Asteroid games on the market, we at Hayden feel that it is important to release only a version that is at least as complete as the others and hopefully more. Since the graphics are so close to the arcade version, it would be a shame not to be able to release the best possible version of the game. First change we discussed involved the addition of the flying saucers. This is very important, especially since the other games do have the ship. When an Asteroid fan purchases the game, I'm not sure how they will expect the saucer and will be disappointed to find it missing from the program. The second change we discussed was the manner in which the ship rotated. I agree with you that we do not want the ship to go spinning out of control. We also do not want to make it difficult to maneuver the ship. It requires both paddles to be used. Try to think of some way in which the rotation can be smooth, but at the same time not too fast. Please feel free to use as many memory up to 48K limits as you feel necessary. My primary concern is that this game gets released. It will be the best Asteroids game on the market. I plan to sell the game for a minimum $20. Holy shit. And maybe more, so you can see that 15% of net sales would be quite the substantial figure. I hope you can find the terms of the contract acceptable. If so, please. So $20 times 6, because the guy said with inflation you times that by 6. $120 for Asteroids? Is that about right? That doesn't sound right. That seems crazy. Either way, $20 back then was a lot of money. Signed 2 copies were indicated to return the contracts to us as soon as possible. I will be out of the office till January 26, 1981, so I will not be able to speak with you until then. In the meantime, if you have any questions, drop a line at the office and I'll give it to my full attention when I return. Have a happy New Year's. Yours truly, Stephen Radash, Games Entertainment Software, SR Inc. Asteroid Blasters. This is the game. Jordan's Asteroid game went through several changes. First, it was Asteroid Belt. By the time of this protocol version 1981, it was Asteroid Blasters. In this version, the graphics were still highly reminiscent of the arcade game, in which it was unofficially based. No, we gotta go in here. I can watch a playthrough of the game and take over the action at any time. Nah, man. We here to play. Hell yes. Let's fucking go. Where am I? There I am. Oh yeah, baby. Anyone who was potentially still watching this video just left. Let's go. Oh shit. No. How do I propel forward? Or otherwise I'm gonna always die. No. I mean, obviously, I have to figure out a way to move forward. There we go. Oh, God. I figured out how to move forward, guys. Alright, there we go. Okay. There we go. Hell yes. I just instantly fucking got eviscerated. Oh, the fucking frame rate. This is how you know the game's good. This is like Skyrim of its day. Oh, I had to just kind of watch there. I lost. It's all over. Not out of it yet. Now that I feel like I understand the game a little bit more. It's nothing but uphill here, baby. I am going so fucking insanely fast right now. Holy shit. I don't even know where I am right now. There I am. There we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. I instantly got vaporine. It's not my fault that that rock came off screen. I feel like I got a little bit. It's fine. No, gotta kill that asteroid. No! Don't worry, I got this. Oh, that spaceship fucking killed me. Well. Quit for now. Jordan's take on the popular arcade game Asteroids. Unofficial clones of arcade games for personal computers were a big seller, which is why publisher Hayden Software signed the game for a 16-year-old Jordan. By 1981, however, Atari had begun to crack down on unauthorized clones. The publisher becoming skittish and asked Jordan to change the game's name to Asteroid Blasters, but still refrained from publishing it. Jordan Mechner, Yale man. In the fall of 1981, when he was 17, Jordan entered Yale University in New Haven, Connecticut, a few hours of train ride away from his family home in Chappaquiddick, New York. There, he started taking karate lessons and joined the Film Society. This is Star Blasters. In 1981, Hayden still had not published Jordan's game and was requesting that he make further changes to it to make it less similar to the arcade game in which it was originally based. This included more of a title change, first to Space Rocks, then to Star Blaster. The later version of Jordan's Asteroid Blasters, it was an unofficial clone of the popular Atari game Asteroids. Publisher Hayden Software feared reprisal from Atari. Asteroids removed all references to the word asteroid. Unfortunately, even with this, it was not enough to convince the publisher to release the game, and it never shipped. All that work, man. Alright, let's see. Is this any different? Presents Star Blaster. Those are clearly still asteroids. Hold up. Alright, there we go. Does this feel any different to me? Not really. It feels almost exactly the same. I'm not gonna lie to you. Still pretty fun, though. Smiley face. I don't know what that smiley face wanted with me, but he's fucking dead. Smiley face is never gonna... Oh my god, giant evil skull. This one rock was completely rocking my shit. Oh my god. Okay, well, the giant evil space rock won that one in the end. I got destroyed by that rock. They give you more lives in this one, too. Probably to make up for the fact that I'm going to die. No? Where'd my little guy go? I guess they had to wait for the rocks to get out of the way. Otherwise, that's just an instant loss. Oh god, the frames! The frame rate! This is some insane frame rate going on right now. Feels like a never-ending speed and velocity. Alright, you know what? There we go. Star Blaster's gameplay. After Jordan submitted the version of Star Blasters, the publisher suggested even more radical changes, such as redesigning the game so the player does not fire any bullets. It only dodges the asteroids. Jordan declined to make such changes. He told them he'd change the asteroids to soap bubbles, but nothing more, and Hayden Software never published the game. Wow. That's crazy. Well, that's one part of the game here. This is still going through a lot of it. So, you know, I'm gonna hold off for this. Maybe I'll continue this later when I'm being less tired. I still have to actually upload this and edit it, but I think 22 minutes is about right. I think this is a really cool game. I think you should give it a shot if you're ever interested in the history of any of these games. Because again, I feel like a lot of these old games for a lot of people, it's hard for them to justify buying them. Because a lot of the time, it's like, yeah, you saw me playing this Asteroid game. It's like a couple minutes compared to most modern day games. But it's easier when you're learning the history of it and you're kind of going through it. At least for me. And who knows, eventually I'm going to get to Karateka, but I have to, I'm 22% for Chapter 1 before we get there. There's even a Karateka 2. But anyway, that's the end of the video, everyone. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully an actual Forgo 1 is next, but whatever video it may be, I thank you very much for watching. Until next time, peace out. Bye-bye now.